child abuse awareness, technology part, be a part of the solution instead of part of the problem. I hope everyone's having a good day today. Good to see you, Eric, and Danielle, Chris as well. Play this. Welcome to Child Abuse Awareness, Darlene J. Clark. A video that I had on here, I got to go back and find it because it went ahead and went to part two. So please bear with me a minute while I get back and find that again. Well, this is part two of our thing, but I got Black Widow part one and Black Widow part two. Okay, right here now. Recorded at Blog Talk Radio. Can y'all hear it okay? Can you hear my phone, y'all? Put a yes if you can. Hello, welcome to another episode of Be a Part of the Solution instead of part of the problem. Please like, subscribe, and share. Hit the bell icon to be notified. Whenever you hit the bell icon, whenever you hit the thumbs up, it helps get me more all over YouTube. I appreciate that. Get the story out there more. I appreciate y'all. This is another recording that I had done previously, trying to get rid of a lot of them from Blog Talk Radio. I just don't want to dispose of them. We need to get this person's story out there. This happens too often in our society, and we do need to speak out about it. Thank you so much. And without further ado, to get started, this one is titled The Black Widow Part 1. Got a little pause. I'm sorry, y'all. I think I was trying to get a hold of Charles. If y'all ever want to hear the full length of that song, I can play it for y'all. But it's like a broken heart, you know, from being manipulated by. I'm gonna get past that. Hold on. Just don't want to. Okay, sorry.
That's when Monty, jumped ship, to my understanding, jumped ship from Kodak and went over to Polaroid.
Hold on a minute. She'll have a little bit of trouble here. So.
Yeah. And this guy one time.
Hold on a minute. Let me mute my mic for a minute. Remember where we left it off before, where you were talking about John Ramsey getting beat by the young girl. that again.
Well, it was at that meeting at Lake Graphics that my brother Fred was very persistent that I go and, meet the guys he worked with him and Roger. So that was the computer engineer that was, I know him as Dale Montegraph. That's what a lot of people know him as. I forgot what his real name really is, but he was with Kodak before he switched over to Polaroid. Whenever the government decided to shut down the micro production in the United States the following year, which was 1984. So what they did is they wanted to go ahead and get the microfilm software for data entry for the records of the court systems in the United States and the military. So Leighton Graphics, with the help, believe it or not, of John Ramsey, wound up with a contract with Cobb County for the microchip computer software that he had designed and the microfilm technology he had helped design for the government and Lockheed Martin. And Monty, when he found out that Polaroid had a better grade film than what Kodak had, and that they were going to be the ones to get the government contract, is when Monty, jumped ship, to my understanding, jumped ship from Kodak and went over to Polaroid. Because I remember back, when I was like 11, 12 years old, my mom, she used to go buy these little old Kodak booths to drop off the proofs of the cameras that were not Instamatic for development.
Yeah, I remember that time.
Yeah. And this guy one time, he had worked at those little booths there, and when she would drop off the proofs and, pick up the pictures, and sometimes she would drop them off when she would be in Smyrna, and he would be working down there, that shopping center south of Windy Hill Road and South Cobb Drive at that Kodak booth there. So he would have worked the one at the Eastgate Shopping Center there in Marietta, close to the Big Chicken, and of course, that booth down there on South Cobb Drive. And of course, he wasn't the only adult male that worked in those booths. And back in the days, the families, they would take the pictures of their infant babies, their in their birthday suits, laying on their stomachs, and sometimes they would have them of their butts and stuff like that. And these guys were actually marketing these photographs of these babies. These families were taking their and have them developed. They were selling in the black market overseas. I found that out that night when we went down there to the shopping center south of Windy Hill Road later.
Well, y'all think about that. That was the innocence, how our parents used to do. A lot of times, said a lot of them were the kids in a bathtub or whatever, or the kids laying on a blanket. You see their butt, in a birthday suit. You think it's innocence. But when these people, when they went and developed them, like Charles is saying right here, they were selling them in the black market. Your kid, innocent baby, lying there for these Chinese, for their sexual gratifications. Okay?
And that's where we wound up having to wait for Mr. Leighton and John Ramsey to return from somewhere. They had to go. So that's when I actually got to meet Monty in person and remember him from working in those Kodak booths. So it's to my understanding that's when he jumped ship from Kodak over to Polaroid, was when Ramsey designed the computer program, and knew Polaroid was going to get it. So Ramsey had part in him, switching ships there from Kodak over to Polaroid. So we arrived at Blatant Graphics. My guess was around 5:30 that evening, and we were outside talking with a couple of the technicians. I think Larry Rome was one of them, and this guy showed up who went by the name of Bill Ramsey, but he wasn't any kin to John Ramsey, but he went by Bill Ramsey. And I think he was actually one of the Rome or Rowan brothers, however I think it's Roan how they pronounce their last names. And of course, one of them was the actual bread truck driver in the staged incident of Beth Ramsey and Pat Darrington in 1992.
Yeah, Beth Ramsey, for people who wondered and familiar with the Ramsey name, that is John Monet's oldest stepsister. I mean, half-sister, sorry.
Yes, I'm half-sister.
He died 2 years prior to John Monet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Melanie is younger than Beth, and John Andrew was 16 in 1991 when he snitched this out. But John arrived and forgot to. Before I arrived there, Fred told me he was going to introduce me to one of the guys that was involved in the Atlanta jailbirds, and I had no interest in all wanting to meet any type of scum that would go out here and murder a child. I don't care, what race. You go out here, you murder a child, you're a child killer. Period, plain and simple. And I was like, well, why would I want to go meet this guy? Oh, you want to meet? No. I will drop you off. I got other things that I'll go do. Because we were in my car. I had just got that car that day. It was a 77 Grand Prix. Little old putty, 301 V8 in it. And I got it from a sister because she had just purchased her in a 15th edition Hurst Oldsmobile. She had got used, I think maybe had 2,000 miles on it. So she wound up selling me her Grand Prix for $2,200, but I couldn't go and get the loan on the car until a few days later on my 18th birthday because the bank wouldn't sign a loan, someone less than 18 years of age. So she went ahead and gave me the keys that evening. Fred, he was just so excited. I just got our, sister's other car, and now I got wheels. We can go out and hit some bars. And I was like, well, I'm not too enthused and really going to any bars and drinking and driving, especially a car to drive. No, that's fine. I'll drive. I'll be the designated driver. We'll go get with some of my buddies, Blatant Graphics, and we'll go out and party and celebrate because, your birthday's coming up here in a few days, and this will give you a chance to get your, get your whistle wet whenever you're out with some women, was the way he put it. And I still wasn't enthused. I was more happy just going and maybe getting one of my, high school sweethearts and just go see a movie. Or, even go with him and just go see a movie, anything but going out to a bar. It just was not, I didn't think it was my cup of tea at the time. So before we arrived, that's when he told me I was going to make one of the guys that was involved in the Atlanta child murders, and it turned out to be John Ramsey. So he arrived. Everybody decided to step out across the road out of the security cameras there at Layton Graphics, so conversations wouldn't be caught up on the surveillance footage. So we stepped over by the post office there on the corner of Woolpool Road and Gresham Road, right there by Tip Top Poetry in Marietta, which is just right there on the side of Interstate 75. What is now the Whitewater exit? If you want, go to Whitewater and theme park is owned by Six Flags. That's the exit right there. And Bentley Farms is on both sides of what we call the 120 Loop. That's North Marietta Parkway today. And he owns all that property on both sides of the 120 Loop all the way out to Ross Road. Wow. That is where Bentley Farms is located. So we're like a rock throws distance from Bentley Farms. They're at Layton Graphics. And if I remember correctly, Mr. Layton actually had his lease with Bentley's. I'm not being correct on that. But they own a lot of those business buildings, commercial buildings there on past the turnoff of Gresham Road when it changes into Wallace Road. It runs down across the 120 Loop and changes into Merritt Road after it intersects with Barnes Mill Road. So Bentley Farms runs from Barnes Mill Road to the 120 Loop. Bentley Lake Road is part of Bentley Farms. 1996, I was supposed to receive, I assume was going to be that old house right there with 6 acres from the settlement from the suit that my dad got hit with out of old man Bentley over the killing of Jim Stubbs, his son-in-law. 1975, I think we covered that on the last conversation.
Yes, you did.
So we're sitting there and John shows up. They're up there talking about these girls that he had murdered up north, which, one he shot in the face with a shotgun and left her body by the police precinct. I found out in 1991 from Matt Darrington was Jill Robinson. So John Ramsey was primarily responsible for her homicide. He was the one who actually shot her in the face with shotgun. And
okay, he actually told you that he did that?
Yes, ma'am. And in 1996, before, the week before September 11th, when they staged an attack on Wanda Cook, the first wife of Mike Cook, told that out of Doug McRae at the Radio Shack. Ben Murphy, who was also involved with John in many of the Oakland County child murders cases. As a matter of fact, it was the distinct-looking young guy with the brown hair and the brown Dodge Duster and the blue Gremlin. Because like Sam Duncan Jr. and John Ramsey, these guys didn't buy their automobiles from dealerships. They went up there to Detroit, straight to the factories, and picked up their automobiles.
Okay, who was that you said owned the blue Gremlin?
That would have been Doug McRae. He actually had a V8. Mm-hmm, he had a V8 in that little Gremlin. It was one of those Ford Editions, you know, they're real costly nowadays because it came from the factory with a V8.
But what year model was that probably? Would you know?
I'm trying to remember exactly which year they opened up Colonial Plaza Shopping Center there in Murphy.
Hey there.
If I remember correctly,
You did not miss much. You did not miss much. I'm fixing to show the screen of Jill Robinson, the girl. He was talking about, John Ramsey was talking about that he shot in the face. This girl right here, Jill Robinson. This was from the Oakland child murders. And he was talking about her yesterday as well. Can y'all see the screen? This is her right here. And when he goes more into the detail, please note too, if anybody got a piece of paper or a pen, if they are investigating on the John Ramsey case and John Benet Ramsey case, and when you hear some of the stuff he says about the anniversary of when John Benet died, especially on the anniversary of this girl right here, Jill Robinson, where he said John Ramsey, don't want to give too much away, but I guess I need to go ahead and say it, on the anniversary of the murder of her, when he murdered her. So put in mind here is the anniversary of her being murdered, December 26, 1976. I just wanted to touch base and show y'all that. Okay. Okay, let me get that.
They were cutting that 4-lane through there in 73. You know, that stretch of highway 64 and 74 and 119 right there. Was Community of Ranger is what they call it, and that's where 74 and 119 comes in from Blairsville, Georgia, from that direction. And so that was for one of the first stretches of the 4 lane that the DOT put in that region, 1973, 1974, just before they started the construction of Highway 515 in Georgia, which, you know, diverted people away from the old Highway 76 and Highway 5. Changes from 575 into 515 once you get in to just before you get into Jasper, Georgia. And so when they completed that highway right there, that's when Ray Duncan and Sam Duncan went in there and opened up their first gas station right there in Murphy, and they built Colonial Plaza. And two of the first businesses that moved in was Electrolux and the Radio Shack, and they were next door to each other. So Doug was the original owner of the Radio Shack.
Doug McRae, the guy that was the driver of that Gremlin that shows, you know, when you look up Oakland child murders, there's a Gremlin, and that's exactly how the Gremlin looked. The person, it says that is, they're looking for the driver of that. But it's like when you try to give them information, a lot of times they don't want to hear it. And I'm sure Charles has done his best about telling them this, and they're not adhering. Okay.
If I remember correctly, I think like 1988, 1989, when his brother Merle retired from the military, he turned around and gave him the Radio Shack, and they went up to Andrews and opened up another Radio Shack there.
Oh, okay.
But he was partners. Well, hear him talk. He was the one, one-stop shop for fastening for the United States government, and the Freddie Hampton and Martin Luther King Jr. executions. According to Matt, and it was part of the
Wow.
weathermen and weather underground infiltration of the CIA, according to him, the FBI. So, according to him, he was a former special operations for the FBI.
Wow.
Well, where does the Black Widow chapter come in?
Well, that comes in 1991, just before the incident over there at Bentley Farm. I remember correctly, happened around the first or second week in October of '91. And what we can do is get to that part when we finish the story about how John Ramsey got his butt kicked by the 11-year-old blind.
Right.
So
I love hearing that, y'all.
we were sitting there at Lake Graphics, and John's sitting there talking about these children that he had murdered, the alphabet, and of course the Oakland County, but he never said who he was involved with, other than he was partners with the Bentleys over there at Bentley Farm on the production of child pornography. Well, being a survivor of Bentley Farm, he wasn't saying anything that was strange, to my ears, being a survivor of Bentley Farm.
Right.
But that came out during the conversation too. But Fred Roger asked him about this case up north that one of his victims had escaped, or he would never said anything. So he was like, "Well, yeah." 11-year-old girl there at this ice cream parlor. So he bought her some ice cream and offered to drive her around town where she could enjoy her ice cream. And the girl was unsuspecting, got in his car, and he driving her out to this secluded location at a base. And got her in the back seat and proceeding and trying to sexually assault her. Well, as he got her shorts down and was about to pull down her panties, she was able to get the footing on the floorboard in the seat because he failed to remove her tennis shoes. So he blamed it on the tennis shoes, and she was able to gain her footing in the floorboard and on the seat, and was able to knee him in the groin.
I like that, y'all.
Elbow him in the ribs and break away from him and run away and scream for help.
She got away. She's one of them that got away. Thank God.
Arrested. The family was wanting to press charges. But as according to him that night when he told them that was going to put the pressure on the family to where they pressed.
So he actually knew where the family lived and stuff then, huh?
Ma'am?
So he actually found out he had ties with the police and stuff like that when they get information for him to find out where the family lived too, to pressure him, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, when you're talking of the Department of Defense contractor, right? And those guys can get away with pretty much anything they want to get away with. I mean, Ed Bentley Jr., he was also a defense contractor. He manufactures the silencers for the rifles for the United States military.
Yeah, he was the owner of Bentley Farms.
He has a degree in husbandry. I don't know exactly which degrees he got from which college, but he's Gridiron University of Georgia and also a graduate of Kennesaw State University. But his daddy was the one that wanted to set my daddy up for the production of child pornography in 1972 to knock him out of the way to where he could go in and develop most of these cops in that area before they actually opened up in Interstate 75 from Allgood Road all the way up to Dalton. I think it was up there to Red Bud Road or something like that, where you used to have to get back on 75 off Highway 41 before they completed Interstate 75. That was the last section that wasn't completed. And they completed that in 1977, if I remember correctly, and opened that up. And then once they opened up that stretch of interstate right there, it just opened up. It just opened, Atlanta up. It just really started booming after that.
Pretty scary there being with the Department of Defense, was it, y'all?
In the late 1970s, early 1980s. If I remember correctly, John, he had his office Excess Graphics over there off of Buford Highway. Right there, just on the side of Interstate.
With all the stuff that they're uncovering today here in 2025, isn't that pretty scary knowing that these perpetrators, people keep wondering why they keep getting away with stuff. We're finding all that stuff out today. There's a lot of others that's getting away with this that are with the federal government and stuff. So it's no new surprise about this, and two of these people, like he said, did work for the DOD, Department of Defense.
285, close to the General Motors assembly plant on that side Excess Road. Actually close to Cove Enterprises, that was the Kirby distributorship, Kirby of Atlanta. Mike Cove, I even worked for Mike for a while with my uncle when we were selling Kirby back in the But he sat there and told how the girl got away. I wasn't even 18, and I was like, well, let me get this right. How old are you? And I think he lied. He told me he was 35, about to turn 36. And I was like, so let me get this right.
Talk about John Ramsey here.
The process of raping her. Right? Yeah. How far along did you get? Well, I just got her shorts down and was about to pull her panties down when she got her footing. I said, so what you're saying is just because you failed to remove her tennis stickers, you got your butt kicked by an 11-year-old blonde, is what you said. He didn't like, he just looked at me one. I said, dude, I'm not even 18 years old yet. And that means I could kick your butt from here over there to Tip Top Poultry with one hand tied behind my back. And my brother standing there, everybody goes, because there's a 17-year-old kid. I couldn't have been maybe 163 pounds soaking wet at that time. But I was very, very athletic. I had just moved back from Marietta from Dutchess when my dad and my parents got back together and got the house that's there on Cedar Drive by Sprayberry High School. And so I was real conditioned, real athletic, very good at every sport I played. If I could just get my dad to let me play football, I could have got a scholarship on college. But he would not let me play football. I could play soccer, basketball, and baseball, but I really wanted to play football because I could burn it up as a receiver on the field. My classmates at Walton High School went during the construction of Lassiter High School in 1981 after final exams. They couldn't catch me on the football field making touchdowns. and they were on the football teams. And they were like, Charles, you got to go. You got to get on the team, play with us, man. We got to have you. My dad would not let me play football. Now, he let Fred, he went against his thing and let Fred play when he was in the 11th grade at Marietta Christian. But Fred didn't play football when he went to Walton. And it really upset me because, you know, why is my brother so privileged that he's allowed to go play football? I got my algebra coach from Lassiter High School wanting me to play, and my dad saying, well, if he'll take full responsibility for your injuries, I'll let you play. So I was always upset about my dad not allowing me to play football because I know I would have got a scholarship and my life would have gone in a different direction.
Right.
Because I was always real tricky, even in soccer. I would sometimes give guys the ball and turn around and take it back from me. I even done it in Peru when I went down there and played soccer with guys that play every weekend. Give them the ball and turn around and take it back from them. So I could have played professional at least in two sports, soccer and football, if I could have ever got my dad to let me play high school. I was selected the first day on the soccer team. Every time I showed up, I was always selected on the first day. But that's why I was able to survive being chased around Bentley Farm and Blackjack Mountain that night that they were chasing me. They decided they were going to kill me that night. They could catch me. Now, it was just too athletic. And I really believe I really could, at 17 years of age, actually beat the brakes off of John Ramsey. I mean, really.
Right.
I had a good grief, 11-year-old blonde kicked his butt, you know? Not right. But anyway, so they actually got me in a bar over there at the Powers Ferry interchange at 285 that night, even though I was drinking age. And I was told not to say anything to Mr. Layton about John being involved in the child murders. So I'm over in the game room area of this bar. There's like two sections, pool tables, one section, and a dancing area with a disc jockey, you know, DJ. Where all the, you know, young, you know, adults in there dancing and all that. So Mr. Layton, he comes out. We're standing over there talking. I asked Mr. Layton, can I ask you something in confidence? Well, yeah, sure. I said, so I can ask you something. You will not say anything to Mr. Prince. No, you can trust me. I was like, are you aware that he's claiming to be involved in Atlanta child murders? No, I did not know that. And I will go and I will have a discussion. I said, oh, Mr. Layton, you just sat here and gave me your word that you would not mention a word to him about it. Well, that's something I'm going to have to go ask him about. Well, he walked off. The other two technicians were standing over there. They looked at me and they said, you're not going to live the rest of the night, boy, that you just done. So John came out there and told them not to let me go anywhere to keep an eye on me. So here I was being pretty much so active in a bar at 17 years of age. I wasn't even 18. And drinking age was 18 at the time. So I was really underage when he was supposed to be in there. So here I got these two technicians watching me find out. So finally, Mr. Layton and John Ramsey came out and told us to come to the area where everybody was dancing. So I went in there, and of course, I was scared compared to all these other adults. And I couldn't find any ladies to dance with me because I was still too young. You know, these women were at least in their late 20s, early 30s in the place. So they wouldn't even want to give a little 17-year-old guy my age a chance to do anything. They were there to dance for the money. So I went to the restroom just to see if I could, how well these guys would keep an eye on me.
Glad you hear,
When I
Teddy.
came out, they were really doing good. Well, they wound up getting 2 women. So they got out there with everybody else and was dancing, so nobody had their view of me. So I went back to the restroom, like I was going to the restroom. Well, I turned around and just walked back out, snuck out, and went out the bar, and nobody noticed. I was able to get down, I think it's the name of the road is Exchange Road or something like that, runs parallel to 285. I had almost made it to the Texaco gas station that was on the corner of Powers Ferry. I had made it that far before they realized that I was gone. Mr. Layton picked me up in a station wagon. Decided he was going to take me over to Wallace Road and let me out, not Wallace Road, Barnes Mill Road and Roswell Road, and let me off right there by the Chevron gas station that was there at the time, to where I could run over that mountain and get away from them while he drove back to Lake Drive. So I ran up the side of that mountain, and Fred was in my car, and he let them out. They were going to come try to run up the side of that mountain, and they had flashlights flashing up there to see if they could see me. And he told them, "Hey, buddies, don't even try it. You are not going to catch him going in that mountain. So we'll catch him as he goes across." Well, I can't remember that other road that they went over there to that ran off the Sewell Mill Road. Used to do kind of like an L shape over to Piedmont Road until they widened Piedmont Road after that. They closed off that one section of, entrance of that road there on Piedmont, which you still access from Sewell Mill. I cannot remember the name of it. But I got over there, and they had one vehicle over there watching, so I had to go back, cut back across the mountain. I got into this one neighborhood and thought I could cross without them seeing me. Well, they had parked down the street and saw me, of course, and they got out and chased me. But the other person I wound up meeting at Layton Graphics that night, before we left, and that was Mike McLaughlin.
That was Judge.
I had went.
He talking about Judge Michael McLaughlin. That's a magistrate.
That's him in 1980 when I was in process of a homicide. He was from out of state. I guess he was still a college student, law student.
Yeah, he said he was from Knoxville, Tennessee originally.
And he will deny it till this day. Well, it's impossible for me to be in Georgia. I didn't even live in Georgia at the time. Well, I'm sorry, he was back in Georgia in 1980 as an assassin. cover up 4-bedroom farm. I found that out in 2013. That boy was killed for trying to get them exposed to different farm. So anyway, and that's when he found out that I was, acknowledged that I was the 14-year-old kid that came and offered assistance after that boy crashed into the brick mailbox that belonged to Sheriff Bill Hudson's sister on Ebenezer Road. So here I am actually meeting him in person. And he stated he had just started a job there with a magistrate court to work with the DA's office and eventually become an assistant magistrate. So he had just moved to Marietta in 1980. So I got to meet him, Monograph, and Ramsey.
Okay, text Charles Rogers and ask him that. He might be able to answer you on that.
Bill Ramsey, and the Roan brothers, all in the same night.
Who is Bill Ramsey?
I think he's one of the Roan brothers. I cannot remember the names of the other technician that Ramsey was training with my brother there for Lake Graphics. That was the only time I actually met those guys. Now, I had seen them again in the 90s when I was living in Lower Alabama down there whenever I got chased down there and evaded running into box trucks. Which, of course, Judge McLaughlin did wind up totaling his 1971 Buick Centurion, same car that I witnessed him chasing that Super Sport Monte Carlo on Chevelle in 1980. He wound up crashing down there in Evergreen, Alabama. He wouldn't believe that of all mailboxes, the owner of Grady Rawls Constructions, like C.W. Matthews, one of the largest road construction companies for the state of Alabama, and C.W. East, the biggest in Georgia. And they do all the road work for the interstates and all that. That's the brick mailbox that Judge McLaughlin crashed his Buick Centurion into in 1994 while chasing me down there in Everett, Alabama.
And I believe when he went back and seen pictures of, it was either Frank Sheldon or Frank. I don't think it's Frank Sheldon. I think it was that other Frank dude. We'll figure that out in a little while when I get that memory of. But he said that's who the Bill Ramsey was. His name was Frank, but I don't think it was the one from the North Fox Island. The other Frank. When I remember the last name, I'll let y'all know, okay? Or he can, when he comes in the chat, he'll be able to answer that. He said when he saw a picture of that guy, he realized that it was Frank.
If his head had not hit the vent window, would have hit the mailbox, it would have been the door to the Judge spot.
Too bad it didn't happen. Sorry, I should say that.
Yeah, this stuff is so crazy. You have to have somebody else tell the story with it. That way, if you're in the audience, you can sit there and tell them this one of the craziest stories you've heard in your life. And if you hadn't lived it, somebody else would tell you just about, sometimes question their sanity. It was done like that by design. It's just mine got to add, my story adds a little bit of spice to it. But their whole agenda that they have set up with the Oakland County child murders was really intended to be pinned on the Black Panthers. Those in the Alphabet murders, in hopes of stirring up a racial conflict in Detroit. Well, the problem with that was during the abduction of Timothy King, he had been seen with Sam Duncan and Doug McRae. So since he had been seen with two Caucasian adult males, they were not able to pin those murders on the Black Panthers. So they came rushing to Atlanta and started doing their rituals in Atlanta with the Black Chick in hopes of pinning it on the Ku Klux Klan, which, of course, evidently Senior, in fact, was a Klansman. We call him the Klansman with a black church on his farm. Okay? If that makes any sense.
Yeah, because you said on his property there is a black church on this.
Yes, ma'am. They're on Bentler Lake Road. I can't remember if it's a Baptist church, but it's a Protestant church. But it's all you know. That's all the people that go to church there, African descent, and so being a member of the Klan and the child porn industry, that's always been their ruse as far as being white supremacists. Is we're not white supremacists. We help the black community. We got a black church on our farm.
That's why the facade there, huh?
Yeah.
So that's the facade they use.
Yeah, it's the deception they use. You know, well, how can we be white supremacists? You know, if we got this black church on our farm, you know, there's no telling how many Klansmen out here back then, you know, had a black church on their properties.
This right here is the Judge McLaughlin that he was talking about in this case. Judge Michael McLaughlin for the Cobb County. See if I can see any more. Of these predators. There was Red Rogers, which was his brother. Here he is, right here. Can y'all see the screen okay? Okay. If I got any Ed Bentley. I know I got them somewhere. I got pictures too. It's like, what did I do with them all? Okay, we definitely got the John Ramsey. It's John and Beth Ramsey here. This is John with Beth. There's John Ramsey right here. I know how John Ramsey looks. I think he said that it was Frank Floyd, that Bill Ramsey. Here's Frank Floyd right here. Trying to keep them all in a different limelight. I've got pictures in here somewhere, I promise y'all of that. Do I have the Duncans in here? I don't see them right there. Looks like someone need to add in there. This is the lady that lives on Bentley Farms. Also, Alice Summer. Along with Ed Bentley Jr. Okay, so we're going back to stop sharing the screen. I'm going back to this. You decided something, okay? Let's see. Since I'm from Mississippi, I wonder if the Natalie Holloway had anything to do with John Ramsey. Natalie's mother was dating him. Makes you go, hmm. Well, we don't really think there's any kind of connection down there. They got together after Natalie died, but it does make you wonder. It made me wonder. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah. So yeah, she did. They did actually move together too. Natalie Holloway's mother and John Ramsey as well. Yeah, I had questioned that as well before, Jonna. Good question there. Like I said, here's the Jill Robinson, the one that John Ramsey claimed to have shot in the face. She was from in one of the Oakland child murders. Okay, we'll get back to that now. Oh, you didn't see. Let me go back and share the screen again. I think I ended up closing it when I went back to show, didn't I? Sorry about that, guys. Pay close attention to the date when I go to show you, okay? Because it is, John Bonet did die on the anniversary of Jill Robinson's death, as John Ramsey threatened and said to Beth that he was going to end up killing John Bonet on the anniversary that he killed Jill Robinson. That he shot her in the face. So you cannot say that he's not responsible anyway. Okay? There she is right there. Beautiful young girl. She did not deserve that. So going back to see that screen.
To out the new room, I had to work my way all the way over to Merritt Road. I just across Panther Farm, all that night. I had to actually get down in the creek there that flows right by Merritt Road and hide under this overhang there in the creek when they were scouting through there looking for it. And I couldn't see it. So they overlooked me and they went across the road and they formed a line for a mile to go across the sky. That entire area looked for me. So when they did that, I was able to come in behind them and sneak in behind them until we got over to that old neighborhood over there at Allgood Road that, borders Allgood Road and Merritt Road, where Eastwood Baptist Church, which was where I attended church. So I managed to make my way to my church. Actually, before I got to the neighborhood, I was going through the woods behind these people's homes there on the road. Well, one of the homeowners was standing out beside his backyard after he knew they was looking for somebody because he could see my car driving back and forth along the road there. He had seen someone out in the woods that came behind his house before me. So he knew they was out there looking for someone. So I come walking along and he scared me. I thought it was one of them thought I was dead. And he was like, "Hey, you must be who they're looking for out here." I said, "Well, I am." "Well, you got 20 of them up there hanging out on the corner of Gerald Sunset Street. They're hanging out up there. So or wait until they leave before you go try to make your way into the neighborhood." So that was very helpful. I was able to go over there and hide out in kind of like a ditch or anything where they couldn't see me. And Fred and Roger came over there and picked them up and they left. So when they left, I was able to work my way in the neighborhood. And believe it or not, I got to my pastor's house. And his name was Steve Cooper. He was the pastor of Eastland Baptist Church. His lights were still on his house. When I knocked on his door, and he came to the door and I asked him, I said, "Brother Cooper, can you get the police are my parents on the phone?" He goes, "No, why?" I said, "There's people out here chasing me, trying to kill me." No, you get out of here. No, let me go.
Wow.
So there was this nice couple that went to church there. Thomas was their last name. They're the ones that donated their home for what is now the entrance to Eastwood Baptist Church from Allgood Road. They were the actual couple who actually called my dad and had my dad come out and pick me up and take me back to Lakeland Graphics and have Fred and Roger to follow us back home that night.
Hey, excuse me a minute. I want to let you know we got about 8 minutes left of the show.
Yeah. Okay, but anyway, but that's how I heard out of John Ramsey his story about the 11-year-old on that whooped that bucket is. My dad told him, if anybody tries anything on your brother again, the first person I will go look for after I get finished with Ed Bentley will be that John Ramsey fella. He goes, I don't care where he goes in the world, I will find him. So that kind of mellowed some things out there for a while between my brother and Roger as far as trying to really deliberately get rid of me.
I don't know which Roger is talking about, because of I think Robert Beach, his cousin, Beitch.
And everything had pretty much died down. I was actually had a form of trust with my brother again into the late 1980s, early 1990s. So here I was selling Kirby vacuum cleaners with my uncle. We started in Marietta, but we would go out to Athens and work in that area because that was a hot pot that Kirby vacuum cleaner sales at that time. And that's how I got into that occupation. I always said I would never get into vacuum cleaner sales, but yeah, I always wanted to get a professional. But I got promoted to field counselor, which is like sales manager in the field. Where my boss opened up his office in Athens.
Noted that a lot of people are talking about Athens, Georgia, not Athens, Alabama, or The other place, about Athens, Georgia.
It was cut off, we do have a part 2 on here. If y'all want me to continue with that, please put a 1 in here. Take a note that it is over 2 hours, 2 hours and 3 minutes long. So let me know. Put put a 2 in here if you want me to keep going. Put a 1 in here if you want me to just do this another time. A 1, so do it another time, Jonna. Okay, we do it another time. And a 2 if we was to keep going. Okay. Well, I'll try to get I'll keep going. Okay. Yeah. She wants to keep going too, in a way. So, in a way, because let's you go ahead. We keep going. You can come back and rewatch, Tammy. StreamYard had changed the settings, so I cannot get it on my. I might have to check out a different app than StreamYard. This is Black Widow Lawyer, Blackstone Lawyer, Black Widow Part 2 that I got recorded. So here we go.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Child Abuse Awareness with Darlene J. Clark. We're continuing on the story, Blackstone Lawyer, Black Widow story, Part 2. Okay, let's see if we get this story. Okay, let me try. There we go. At that time of phone calls that were pretty close to the end, where you had talked about the induction of Timothy King, and they tried to pin it on the Black Panthers and Doug McRae, and
okay, Tammy.
I can't remember that other person was involved, and then they ended up moving their.
He typed it. He just got there saying in between there, Sam Duncan. He listed that name, y'all. Know that he's a part of Duncan Oil.
To Atlanta, Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. Is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am. They during Timothy King's abduction, there was 2 adult males seen with him before, during, and after, and that was Doug McRae and Sam Duncan Sr.
Okay, Tammy, I will.
That is Big Ray Duncan's brother, the founder of Duncan Oil. His brother Sam lives in Murphy, North Carolina.
Another big wig.
Well, yes, ma'am. There's a lot of big wigs. When I, start revealing who they are, you might as well call them the Billionaires Pedophile Club, because that's pretty much what type of people they are, and some of them actually run this country from behind the scenes, in banking and entertainment, and of course oil and lumber, and I mean some of your top industries in this country. Some of them people are very much some of the most untrusted people in this nation.
Yeah, to think that, like you had said before, also with the Kodak and the Polaroid, a lot of people trusted their films being made over there at Polaroid and Kodak, and it's a shame how they ended up turning that around and getting our innocent pictures that we took of our children and then selling them overseas and such as.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bill Montegraph is not his real name. That's his alias. And believe it or not, Theo Codger, when I go to work out at a particular gym in Duluth, Georgia, he is all the time in that locker room. He's retired. He's even got children that are grown. Now, a lot of people want to know who this Dale Montegraph is. Well, he lives in Marietta, Georgia, but he drives all the way out to Duluth because that's his favorite spot to hook up the young guys there in the locker room. And every time I go in there, he looks at me and wishes me the most successful year that I can have. Every time I walk in there. And I think because they know who you are. Probably afraid I'm going to cold coffee. Because I have had a reputation, which normally in defense, cold cocking some of these guys and put them in ICUs. Sam Duncan Jr., he wound up in ICU for 5 days with a broke jaw and fractured cheekbone, one of those. I didn't show up to fight him. I wasn't going to live to see dark. Yeah, when I got over there, you. Mm-hmm. And then when I got over there, well, if I lost the fight, they were going to kill me. But now I could beat him up, but I couldn't kill him because if I killed him, well, they were going to kill me. So I just did the next best thing. I almost killed him. And I went over there and sat him in the ICU. Yeah. Pray for his recovery. Yeah, well, in the hospital, you sat there in the bed. Well, Sam was like, you mean you want to go in and sit with my son? I'm like, yeah. I don't think he's going to live if I don't go in there and pray for him. Oh, really? Well, how do I know you won't?
Okay, hold on a minute. Hey, we're doing a live with you on your part 2 on the Black Widow Spider. Okay, you wanna go to Facebook?
Okay, well, all right. Okay.
Okay, see you shortly. They'll see you shortly in there. Okay, bye-bye.
Brainwashing. I asked him, I said, well, which would you much rather have, a dead son or a brainwashed son? And he goes, I'd much rather have a brainwashed son. I said, well, there you go. He goes, well, how do I know he'll leave when he comes to? I said, if he tells me to leave, I won't even say a word. I'll leave. And sure enough, when he came to and he saw me sitting over there, he wasn't too happy and told me to leave, and I didn't say a word. I got up to leave. Then he told the nurse.
Glad you're here.
Talk to him. So I wound up staying there for 4 days with him, get him in drinks whenever he come awake and wanted something to drink and help him with his drink. Kind of do for the old boy, kind of like I would do a friend or family member. I didn't go in there to disrespect him at all. And yeah, you knew that he had brainwashed himself, basically, Well, you don't know what to do.
Hey, B. Beyond, are you there? You're still here. Please say something. I want to show you something right quick, okay? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and present the screen again and show you the Jill Robinson. I don't know. Yeah, I think you did show that on the live thing before. This is that's where Jill Robinson, that's where John Ramsey, this is the girl that he had claimed that he shot in the face. And you notice the date, December 26, 1976. And that is around the anniversary. So that all fits in to your reading what you did the other day as well. So these people are tying in to all working together and attracting these people he's
Something so
speaking
nice
about.
when they're brought up by those type of parents. They're groomed in.
And I got it live at YouTube, Facebook right now too. And Charles Rogers will be writing in there at the moment too.
That they think what they're doing is normal. This is it's just the way it is, and you really feel sorry for them. You look at people like Hunter Biden, same thing.
And Charles, please say hi to Beyond the Veil. Then I can share it with her.
He was a the way he.
A lot of people try to blame Ramsey for what happened to John Bonet, but he's a victim of circumstance as well. To where if he talks, he knows he's going to get killed because heck, that's what happened to his sister 2 years before, John Bonet.
Yeah, the same thing with his oldest half sister, Beth. That was no accident.
Exactly.
Yeah, as many times as they've tried to chase me around lower Alabama in the 90s, from 93 really to the first part of 96, they were down there trying to chase me around, unsuccessfully, of course. Judge McLaughlin crashed his 1971 Buick Centurion into the brick mailbox of Grady Rawls, the owner of Grady Rawls Construction, the largest road contracting firm for lower Alabama, of all brick mailboxes. And that's the one that Judge McLaughlin crashed into, trying to chase me into it. Old UPS truck, we call them bread trucks because of those single body trucks,
Have you noticed something though? That a lot of times when they go to do this, a lot of these victims, they end up saying they crash into a bread truck. Well, y'all need to start being speculative when you hear a person crash into a box truck because it could have been a setup.
Yeah, I mean,
this is Judge McLaughlin. It's Cobb County Magistrate.
I hope word gets to, Matt Darrington's family, because Matt Darrington comes from a really wonderful family. That was a man. Matt Darrington was very much 100% gentleman. I mean, when I first met Beth, I would be lying if I, just by talking with her and meeting with her, and her demeanor and the warning that she brought me over the contract that they had put out on me again in 1991. It's one reason why I'm still alive.
Right.
1978, and I don't know why my dad didn't do it then, but he wanted to give me a chance to go in the military, do my service to the country, which of course I couldn't get in from a medical record, or I would have. But he thought I would go in the service and get out of the service, and in 1996 I go and collect 6 acres of Bentley Farm with a house and $450,000. And that would give me money to, start a life, get into developing and building if I wanted to, follow his footsteps like I wanted to. And that's why he had that set up the way he did. And, after the birth of John Bonet, Beth, came down to meet, her little half baby sister. She came to Marietta, and she said the moment that she held that little child, her heart just melted. And she had been sexually abused by her daddy. So here she was with a new half sister. She was really more concerned in her entire life than she had ever been concerned whenever she first held John Bonet. And she determined that she was not going to allow her little half sister to go through the same sexual abuse that she went through. It started when she was 7 years of age.
Yeah, and people might wonder why they were constantly after you and everything, but this stemmed all the way back from when you were 6 years old.
Oh, yes,
and
ma'am.
they tried a lot of crap on you. So if everybody go back and look at Mother Blog Talk, there's 2 other interviews that I've interviewed him, and you can get the backstory on a lot of that, so then you'll understand why he had to keep running and why they kept chasing after him.
Yeah, I've lived in Willis, Texas. I've lived in Pensacola, Florida. I've lived in Evergreen, Alabama. I've lived in Whittier, North Carolina. I've lived all around different parts of Atlanta trying to avoid these people. Just try to have as close to a normal life as you want to have. I don't like getting out into other people's personal business. I really don't like people really being nose up into my personal business.
Right.
I've been accused of being a thief and informant. They throw some people there, and I don't know when they started this rumor, but I found out in 2001, and it almost got them killed. Because they hired some poor boys from the Dixie Mob to take me out, and they found out that I was not an informant, nor was I a thief. They had been told that I went to some drug dealer's house and stole something like $4,000 or $5,000 worth of merchandise from this guy, and turned around and ratted him out and got him busted for drugs. That's the kind of lies that they was putting out on me. What people want, to, hurt me or kill me. And it led to fight after fight. I had one guy about 6'3" try to jump on me over one night in Helen, Georgia. I didn't even get 2 sips out of my beer. And this guy's up going to swing down on me. So, like I said, I don't start fights. I finish them. And I finished it. The bouncers didn't even want to intervene because when they came up behind them, I did the same thing I did in the second brawl, less than an hour later. I turned around, told them to back off, and I went back, dodged this guy's punches, and commenced whooping that doggone butt of his. So, of course, they had to call the unit out there and escorted to the hospital. Air fractures of both his cheekbones. And the moment they got him to the hospital in Cleveland, they had to turn around and bring 2 more. I went to another place. The bouncers come up and they told me, well, you're going to have to leave. We know you didn't start the fight, but our policy is you get in a fight, you have to leave for the day. And, of course, the guy, he was sitting over at the table with his wife and one of her friends. And I said, yeah, well, what about him? He goes, well, he's going to have to leave too. And he said, no, well, I need an ambulance. Which, I wasn't liable. It was self-defense. I can understand if I threw the first punch or something like that, it'd have been in jail. It'd have been felony. You go out and you start a fight on somebody like that and brutally injure them, you're going to be charged with a felony in the state of Georgia. And same thing in the second place. That place had live band and didn't even get 2 sips out of that beer. And so the boys are going to come up and, start a fight with me. Had 2 of his buddies going to come up behind me, and I've experienced it before, and grab you behind, and the guy sits there and he gets to wail the daylights out of you. So I turned around and pushed those people back.
Was it because that one people, the certain people kept trying to get these different people hired them to do that to you or whatever?
Well, yeah, Mike and Fred and Jeff Cook was over there that night. And I was actually, I think it's the night that I've actually met Doug Duncan, the guy that he's a lobbyist for the logging industry.
Uh-huh.
And of course, you're talking Zell Miller's people. Of course, he's going to come down and, hang around with people that sell lumber and that are in the lumber business for a building supply. Because that's who pays a salary is the logging industry. And,
right.
I'm a swell guy. I've not really known much of anything really bad about him. You can't say just because they're with this group of people, but they're a bad person, because it's not the way it works. These people associate with very good people all the time, and these good people don't know who they're dealing with. That's what it boils down to. But, they had a guy decide he's going to come in that second round. He's going to come in and grab me anyway. Well, he got to meet a table on the way to the floor, and he got put in ICU for a few days. So that's what landed my picture over in the Black County Jail from 97 or 98 to the time they built the new county jail, which was in 2007. And they just, they didn't move it to the new jail. They just tore it down the old jail, the picture went around along with it. I guess because they figured they didn't need it. It's hard to go to hell in anyway. I do fast food Cleveland. It's, just passing through. I have no business over there whatsoever. And I don't have friends that live over there.
Right.
But they had my picture on the wall for a long time before the deputies would, see me, and they would know to keep an eye out. And somebody came to try to jump on me, they would be able there to assist them with medical if needed. And what had happened with those 2 guys, or the 3 that jumped me the second time, 2 of them were already out on probation. They had already served their 16-day jail sentence. And wasn't even supposed to be. Yeah, they were given like 12 months or 24 months probation. Don't know if they were charged with felonies or misdemeanors, but they wound up serving 16 days in jail. There was this couple that went up there on vacation the previous year, taking their honeymoon from Savannah, Georgia. And they said something, to the guy's wife. And of course, he said he's going to defend his wife's honor. And they wound up jumping on him and put him in the hospital for a night. The one that started the fight, he was still out on bond. He hadn't pled guilty yet. And that wasn't the first time that, they had problem with these 3 guys jumping on people over there. They had beat up one local boy really bad, put him in the hospital for a few days, a few years earlier. So they were kind of the regulars over there at the White County Jail when it comes to jumping on, 3-on-1. I guess they were regulars over there. Right. So of course, when the detective called me up, at my office because what happened was the second bar, they called the unit out there. And, of course, their uncle almost shot me, so I was an informant. I was an informant for what? At a house. That's how I got out of getting shot. I said, oh, so it's not you're a call to the authorities. So he shot up, he said he didn't want to shoot me. A woman sitting over there, this guy's wife, she goes, well, sir, he was just trying to over to break up the fight. I said, ma'am, I can talk the way you break up the fight. I said, no, my name is Michael Morganson, Georgia, down in Marietta, Georgia, 1976. I was fighting every day of my life. As many times I've had people come up and grab me from behind where the other one could wail away on me, I said, no, ma'am, your husband came up to grab me. And if I were you, I would get him out in the automobile as fast as possible. I said, I don't know if you heard Sam Duncan up there in Murphy. He's got his gas stations up there. Well, his boy just got out of the ICU for 5 days, 2 months ago. And if they didn't get him there within minutes, he wouldn't have survived. So I'll help you get your husband in the car where you can drive him to the hospital. I say you don't need to be honoring no doggone speed limit, but you don't need to be driving like a doggone maniac trying to get him there. I look at the bouncers. I says, anybody call the sheriff's department yet? They said, yeah, they got a unit on the way right now. I said, well, there's your escort. So, of course, they didn't want my help loading her husband in the back seat of the car. You know, I guess his brother, buddy, or whoever, cousin, or whatever, and the bouncers helped get him in the car. And the deputy, he got there. I just went over and gave him one of my business cards. So I got a phone call the following Tuesday from a detective over there, and I thought he was going to try to, put out a charge on me. And he goes, when he started asking me questions, you know how these police are. You have to be really careful with them. And he goes, oh no, Mr. Rogers, I'm not trying to get you admit to anything, but we're taking out a warrant for you. And that's when he started explaining the history of the 3 guys. He goes, we already talked to people at both establishments. They said you were not a problem. The first establishment, you respected their request. You left the way they asked you to leave. You didn't mile off or anything. So we know you're not a problem. So we're not trying to get a warrant for you, but we need a statement out of you. And that's when he told me about, the couple from Savannah getting, my husband getting beat up and all the other problems they had out of them. I said, well, you know what? I'll make an exception. I'll do a second on this. And so, detective, he came all the way up to Murphy. And it was pretty neat because my service department manager, she got to hear it. My branch manager, he got to hear it. And that's where they took my picture at, was right there at my office. And it was not put on the wall by any of their deputies nor by any of their informants. Now, there was one boy over in Murphy. He got arrested about a couple of weeks later. Went over there and saw my picture on the wall and come back trying to tell people, well, he's over there working with the White County Sheriff's Department. So it kind of helped my...
Are you still there, B? I had gave you a lot of response right there, written a lot right there.
Reputation in Murphy to where I didn't have, too many people want to, start a fight with me once they heard that. So, it really minimalized a lot of problems for me. But that was pretty much my life story. Don't start the fight, no, throw the first punch. but I always finished them.
Yeah.
But
And your own brother,
that's
there are a lot of
these
times
people.
that you,
ma'am,
and I said your own brother set you up and just like you protected your mom, you know, when your brother tried to, you know, do what to your mom, you know.
well, yeah, and of course my cousin Robert was part of it, which he's really
And
not
what
like
was
him.
Robert? When you mentioned Roger earlier, that's Roger Nance, right? And then
Yes,
your
that's
cousin
Roger. No, that's Roger. No,
and then,
Robert
but the brother, your cousin is Robert who?
Veitch. Veitc. He's a former Cobb County police officer.
Oh man.
He was involved in the Atlanta child murders with John Ramsey. I know that for a fact because I went down there one night, 1982, pleading for my brother and Roger's safe return because they were supposedly being held by this cult who was engaging in child sacrifices. I took one of my buddies who drove me down there, and I went in those woods. I blocked them, told them there was a group of people out there waiting on me to come back out with 2 police officers. And I blocked my way out of those woods. And I had to get out of there before one guy went up and looked up and would only seen one automobile up there, and I would have been finished. But I got out of there, and that's how I found out that my cousin Robert was involved with Ed Bentley Jr. because Eddie was right there with him. Robert and Ed Jr., they're like best friends. They graduated Sprayberry High School together. I did not know this, but they were best friends. And they were involved in everything. Ed Bentley Jr.
He graduated.
That got cut off for a second because that was Charles and couldn't have. Wait to get back out there. Something tried to set us up for a minute. See? Okay, it's back.
It was a little bit after they had moved to Atlanta because they were trying to frame the Black Panthers over there. So it was a little bit after that. I didn't get to finish listen to the last 10 to 15 minutes, but it was right around there when I had to stop and then come in here to this, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, Atlanta was a melting pot of racism back in the 1970s and really into the 1990s. And it started dying down in the 90s when people found out that I was actually out there stopping the majority of the attacks. And almost getting killed numerous times trying to do it. But I succeeded. Stopping 26 terrorist attacks.
Thank you for doing that.
Well, you're welcome. Succeeded in getting the 263 pound disarmed and surrendered to the ATF the night of January 28th, 1998. And Governor James Baxter Hunt Jr. did not want to go to the rear parking lot.
That's in North Carolina.
My office over there at Letchlock and tried to negotiate with Matt McRae to get truck bomb number 11. That's how many they had built. Out of Murphy, North Carolina, after they failed to hit the FBI field office down there in Mobile, Alabama, 17 minutes after Joey Davis hit the new Women's Healthcare Clinic. And yes, he was driving Eric Rudolph's pickup truck, and yes, he was wearing Ham's brown wig. So now Kevin Langan is not the only cross-dresser of the area Republican Army. There's Josephine Davis, the anonymous caller to the Centennial Park attack. But the information I got out of Doug McRae of the Radio Shack was his admissions to his involvement with John Ramsey. They were involved together in the Charlie Chop-Off. They were involved together in the Oakland County child murders. Doug was best friends with Frank Sheldon, Francis Duffield Sheldon, on the North Fox Island football ring. Frank is buried. Say that, the Frank Sheldon thing, they try to say that he was buried in another country. Is he the one that they were trying to claim that? Yeah, I call him the zombie. He faked his death July 1996 in New Amsterdam. He had Andy Strassmeyer up on Andy out around Europe and Germany out there after the Oklahoma City bombing. And he got him a fake death certificate in New Amsterdam, so he wouldn't have to worry about the FBI looking for him so hot. So he could free up, go over there, play some golf over there at the Brasstown Valley Golf Club with old Will Miller and the boys. Someone, aren't you Frank Sheldon? No, I'm Frank Torrey. Nothing Hispanic looking about him, but that was his alias, Frank Torrey. And he's buried east of Andrews, North Carolina, on Highway 64. He was.
Hey, Charles, got a question for you. Who was it that you found out that who was Bill Ramsey that John Ramsey kept introducing as Bill Ramsey? Write that in a thing because I think you said it's Frank somebody, right?
Killed at the same time that Dave Holloway, the CIA, and Andy Strassmeyer were executed in self-defense. Robert Miller, the leader of Abilene City, came out to claim all three of their bodies on I think it was the 25th of September 1999. And he said, if you come out there and kill me, take all three of their bodies back to Halloween City and bury them. But when they got up there, thinking they were going to kill me, they found out they were outgunned and outnumbered. Those people over there in Western North.
Okay, I'm about to show y'all a picture of Franklin Delano Floyd that was also known as Bill Ramsey, okay? Let me share that right quick. I shared his picture a few moments ago. It's right there. Franklin Delano Floyd. He was on the run, and that was an alias that they were giving him at the time. Thank you.
Carolina, and they're kind of people, they'll do anything in the world for you. They'll give you the shirt off your back. If you're running from the law, they'll hide you unless you're a child rapist. And they're not going to hide you then. So they've been known to hide armed robbers, bank robbers, and drug runners, and all that from the law, and bootleggers, and all that from the law. They'll do anything in the world for you. And they don't agree with the government that we have, and you really can't blame them. But one thing they cannot stand is a liar. like I said, they'll do anything in the world for you. I really thought that Eric was out there doing what he thought was God's will, out here, killing
They
these.
talk about Eric. They thought that Eric Rudolph, sorry, was doing good, as they're saying. Okay, Charles just wrote, yeah, he does look like a creep, and he was a creep. He, I'll be doing back at his story in a couple of days, okay? Because that's part of it. So Floyd, John Ramsey, Judge Mike McLaughlin, Doug McRae, and Frank Sheldon murdered 28-year-old Mary Corder of Cincinnati, Ohio, in 1981 in front of her 2 and 3-year-old daughters. But they decided not to kill the kids because I think you said something about that they felt like the kids went through enough after seeing their mama die. But had it just been the kids they killed, they would have been okay with it. But with them seeing their mother die, they kind of. But then when they pose the body for it to be found, the kids were right there by her dead body.
Abortionists who were murdering these, unborn babies, and was just this good old boy that would probably give you the shirt off his back and all that. And there really wasn't much to, set them straight until they could find out on their own that he was not really in his mind doing what he thought was God's will. You were for a while if you stand against abortion, but yet you rape, murder, and torture children, you are not pro-life.
And I wanted to let them know that also Eric Rudolph was John Bonet's ski instructor. Okay.
Okay, there's nothing pro-life about that. And I've had some of my friends know about that. They go out there and tell people, well, the reason they were against the abortion industry was, they were aborting, potential victims. And our only reason for standing against the abortion industry. And, that's sad. We should have never had an abortion industry to begin with.
And we already had it where, if a woman had complications that was a health risk, they did go ahead and do something like that because of the health risk. I also got it across my screen on this where Leslie Nance had threatened me. That's Roger Nance's. I'm sorry, it's a recording. That's why it's a little difficult. I'm sorry. Where Leslie Nance, which is Roger Nance's wife. This message is to Darlene J. Clark and all parties who are unknowingly complicit to sharing, hosting, and helping in the crimes against us. I apologize for posting this, but could not be. But they were kind of threatening me on getting this out. But when it's truth, you cannot help. You got to aid. You got to go with the truth. You cannot fight it. Associate for the mob, so I don't see what the big problem is, why they needed all this other stuff either.
Well, that's like Matt McRae that day. I had to go over there.
Is this any better?
Murphy.
Hey, StreamYard had changed where I cannot do the videos, where if I did it through my YouTube anymore, I can't figure out how to do it straight from that. So I'm having to do it from my phone to this. So it makes it a little bit more difficult since StreamYard changed that. And I don't understand why they did. I'm sorry about that, Alonka.
and they wanted to have kids, and then they found out that I'm abortion. They said that for life, and they couldn't have a kid. And they said they would forever have it for the fact.
Is this any better?
Yeah, I ran into quite a few women like that. They had abortions, so they got married and decided they wanted to have a child, or they had the child because they had abortions.
Right.
And some cases they'll turn around and adopt a child because they can't have children together.
Is it better right here, Charles?
And that's their children.
Which way's better to hear it?
I mean, it's sad. I remember this girl from
Hear
Puerto
better?
Rico. It was the same thing. She went and got her an abortion. And I looked at her and I told her, I said, there's going to come a time you're going to want to have a baby.
Okay.
And
Thank
you're
you.
not going to have that baby. And sure enough, pregnant and miscarriage. She
Thank
couldn't
you.
have children without miscarriages. Sad, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, they want to say it's their body. Well, no, it's not their body. It's another human being. And you know, you got the science. You know, want to sit there and say, well, with their fetus, they don't even have nerves yet. Well, okay, whatever. I mean, it's.
They had a heartbeat. There was a heartbeat. You know what I'm saying? So if it had a heartbeat, that should tell them something, right?
Well, it's still a death sentence. Get out there in Delphi, Indiana. Nobody has been able to convince me yet that if Ricky Allen is guilty, that he acted alone. Because I know how this works.
Yeah, they work in teams.
Well, yeah, there's probably around 30 to 100 people involved in those two girls' murders. Because this whole, it doesn't get smaller. Yeah, you'll have some members die off, but you'll have some over there in UGA and over there in Georgia State University, Mercer University, and of course up there in Harvard and all them. They get, brought into these secret societies, and well, the Gridiron Secret Society is the Odinist cult that Allen's attorneys has brought to his defense. Now, they're trying to deny that he had any connections to that cult, but he was in the area at the time of the girls' abductions. They were killed elsewhere, and their bodies were placed where they were found. So they were not killed where they were found. So there was no lone wolf in the Delphi murders.
Thank you so
There
much,
was no
John
lone
and
wolf
Charles.
come creeping through the basement window of the Ramsey home. Okay. There was 18 people, guests, still in that house after all the other 25 guests left before John set the alarm. Big Ray John.
And plus, did Beth not share with you about how the father threatened that he was going to do? So, you tell us what he said that he was going to do to John Bonet. That he told Beth that he was going to do to John Bonet.
He's going to rape her himself when he got home. And he was going to dress her up like a beauty queen when she got older. He was going to dye her.
Hey, John had just asked about, was this the two girls that witnessed the mother's death? Now, they left the two girls alive, if I'm not mistaken. So I think this was two other girls. Am I right or wrong, Charles? Donna wonders, was this two girls?
her hair blonde. Beth's greatest fear was her being put in these beauty pageants. He knew that. And he was going to pass her around like a hooker in a brothel before he killed her on Christmas. And
There were a lot of them pedophiles there that night.
Well, he told her he was going to kill her on the anniversary of Jill Robinson's homicide. And that's what he did. 20 years later, from the date that John Ramsey shot Jill Robinson in the face, he had his youngest daughter, JonBenét Ramsey, murdered. That's a fact.
And there was quite a few people that was there at the time of the death too, and they don't want to go like this. They said they left a party and all that, but no, there were still a lot of people there still at the house during when JonBenét died. Am I right or wrong?
Oh, you are correct. And some of those people could not believe that some of them didn't even know the murder had taken place until after it had taken place. And they could not believe that her own parents was involved in her murder. These people thrive off of blackmail. Okay, Jeff Epstein was their master of blackmail. It would take too long to get in the way this guy operated for them. But he was involved in the murder of JonBenét Ramsey.
Y'all hear that?
Ghislaine Maxwell, okay, she was all the time in the summers over in Hiawassee, Georgia, being seen with Eric Rudolph, having dinner with John, Patsy, and the children. Eric was her water skiing instructor during the summer of '96 because the Ramseys, Jesse, and Ghislaine shared Big Ray Duncan's house with him on Lake Chattooga. During the winter when he was in Boulder, he would stay at the Ramseys. Okay, another one of John Ramsey's friends and partners in the Atlanta child murders is John Mark Carr's daddy. When JonBenét was murdered, where did John move the family to?
Georgia.
To Sandy Springs, less than 3 miles from John Mark Carr's daddy's house. You always hear this BS about, John Carr went up there and snuck into the house, and John Carr didn't have to sneak into the doggone house.
Hey, Jonna asked, did Patsy know she was going to be murdered? Did Patsy know that JonBenét was going to be murdered?
Well, they said we didn't lock our doors and not like, yes, you do. You still lock your doors, especially somebody with that much money. We knew that was a lie from the start, too.
Yeah, those people can't tell the truth if their lives depended on it.
I want to tell you about a video that I did. I want to tell you about a video I did on my YouTube channel the other day under Darlene J. Clark, It's a sting operation on Andrew David Mellon, ex-advisor to the Prince of Wales. And guess whose name was affiliated to that besides, of course, the higher-ups in the government? I mean, the King and Queen, Prince Charles and all that kind of stuff. Guess whose name was mentioned?
Jimmy Carter?
No, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Oh, okay. Well, have you seen the picture of Rosalind Carter and John Wayne Gacy?
Yeah, you told me about that. You can explain that to the listeners, though, if you will.
Well, these politicians, you think these serial killers, and which there are some out there that are lone wolves, they're not part of any group or secret society or anything like that. And I mean, they are out there. But the ones like Rex Harriman, John Wayne Gacy, of course, John Ramsey, okay, they're all members, believe it or not, of the Gridiron Society.
Yeah, that's a big group of people. Influential people.
Well, they're also known as.
Is there also an island that's off of Georgia as well, or is it just North Carolina?
No, you got Jekyll Island, and Robert Sapir. He does a real excellent job. He's like Donald Trump.
Sorry, trying to get me sick of my stomach a little bit.
But he doesn't tell you the name of their secret society or their identities because it's so easy to say something all of a sudden you're being chased in the rain toward a bread truck.
Exactly. Jekyll Island, is that close to Georgia?
That's down off the coast of Georgia near Brunswick.
That's another island that's for the pedophiles, just similar to Epstein Island. Now, a lot of people might not have heard about it.
Well, a lot of people look at it as a tourist destination, but you go down there, and this is how historically based this is. This is how long that they have been working in this country to do the communist takeover, and they've been failing miserably to do it. I mean.
Well, they said that on the letter looked a lot like, more like Patsy's handwriting than anyone else's.
That is pretty much where they want us right now, where their judges and their operatives in government positions. It's kind of like, a pimple when it festers up, you squeeze a little bit, all the crap comes popping out of it. And that's about what's about to happen with the government right now. We're about to mash it and all this crap and pus is about to come out of it. And that's going to take a lot of cleaning up because we got judges, we got prosecutors.
Patsy wrote the note after the fact, to try to hide what really happened. Okay, to shift the blame off of them.
We've got senators, we got congressmen, and Jim Jordan did not lie at all when he said there was over 44 CEOs and executives involved with the Bidens, okay, in child sex trafficking. He did not lie at all. They sat there and said there was 2 individuals that was putting information out on the internet, social media, about Hunter Biden. Well, by law, if it had been false, I'd be under the jail. Okay?
Right.
You can't go out here and put out that kind of information or misinformation about a member of the first family because you falsely accuse somebody of something. You're going to more than likely spend the rest of your life behind bars.
You know what's sad about that statement, though? A lot of things that people had accused even of Trump doing that he didn't do, it's sad to say that he kept getting accused of that falsely and nobody had to pay for that. But these other people that doing this other stuff to try to destroy America, they're getting away with it.
Well, you look at
away with it.
Well, you look at the September 11th, 1996 fake attack of Rhonda Cook. That is Oklahoma City and Centennial Park bombers' first wife, Rhonda. This woman winds up stabbed in the legs, calls 911 right around 1 p.m. But when I'm finishing my lunch in College Park, Georgia, working next door to the Easy Rental down there, cleaning upholstery that day. See, my
far
sales
away
job,
from where she's at. No,
that's
you're
right.
far away from where she's at.
Mm-hmm. Drug Task Force Commander Mark Pigpen. Everybody calls him Pigpen up there. And the tag number. And my truck was still registered in Alabama, 96, while I was going through my divorce. And it's on September 11th, 1996, around 11:48 a.m. The tag number of my 1985 red and white Dodge pickup truck got called in to dispatch. Okay. And the son of a gun parked in the parking lot at Easy Rental in College Park, Georgia. Just behind the Atlanta airport. I had walked next door for my lunch at this Jamaican restaurant. It was the next plaza up. No need to get in my truck and drive. Just walk right over next door, sat down, had my hot wings, some fries, some sweet tea with lemon. There was about 8 other customers eating. I go up, and the moment I'm paying for my bill and my tab, 911 in Cherokee County gets called. But I supposedly went up on a motorcycle, not in my pickup truck, knocked on my cook's door. His wife came to the door, and I wanted to borrow her telephone, and she refused to let me use her telephone. So I forced my way through the screen door with a knife and started attacking her and stabbed her in the legs. And she managed to fight me off. And I got scared and ran up, got on the motorcycle, and drove down to Foothill Road, made a right, went down to the dead end.
Okay, right here, I'm showing a picture of former Drug Task Force Commander Mark Pigpen, the one who is talking about Cherokee County, North Carolina Sheriff's Department. Okay.
Where's this pickup truck?
Yeah, how do you know?
Well, the pickup truck was left dead in the Foothill Road. Okay. Well, how did I get there? You didn't play it out and jump on the Harley Davidson. What did I do? Walk there? I said, I didn't drive there. Park.
But didn't somebody kind of set you up by going ahead and doing that just to make it look?
They had already played some of the wire used for the explosive in the Centennial Park attack in the supply box in the back of my pickup truck. Well, when I got charged for the attack around the clock, well, this one come up with a search warrant, and that's going to go search my pickup truck for the knife that was used to attack her. Okay? So in the process of searching my vehicle, they were going to find this electrical wire and stuff, and they were going to repair it. Oh, wait a minute. Here's our bomber to the Centennial Park attack. That was the game. That was their point.
When they thought it was not anybody's pickup truck.
Well, Fred Sheldon, one of the years, Sheldon was coming to be in the lab next door. They're going to come hang out for 2 weeks. So I get back.
Did you say any better?
I spent the week. I made almost $2,000 that week cleaning the poultry. And I was going to the bars,
Okay, tell me if this is better. Hold on.
Machines that week for 2 weeks and then come back down and there's some more cleaning for easy rental. I think I'm my second day working in Murphy when they found out that I had moved up to Murphy from Pensacola. They wanted me to do all their stores.
How about now?
So the moment I transferred to Murphy, I picked up easy rental. So it was very, very strategically to my advantage.
Is it better?
Because I got cooperation out of buddies at Easy Rental and helping me stop the majority of those attacks.
Tell me if this is better, okay?
So, well, I had cooperation out of Rental Center as well. And the March 11th, 1997 tax that where they tried to blow the city of Doraville off the map.
Thank you.
Hey, I got up that Monday morning and I was wanted to come and work for under me. My manager wanted me up assistant manager and wanted me to work Joey Davis. Well, Joey, I was shocked because Joey didn't like me. I got along with his dad and I'm still friends with his dad. But Joey Davis and I have never seen anything that's positive relationship whatsoever. One, you can't, you're not one of the people I can turn my back on. How about plenty of people tell me, turn your back to them. That's just the way it is. You can go now. Weller's always from home that Weller and I met. We've always been friends and we've maintained that, friendship. Weller was not involved in any of the mess like the FBI had thought he was. And he just wasn't. Weller's a lot like me. He's one of those guys, well, he's retired now, but when he got home, they didn't care what was happening over at the job. They didn't care it was parked next door to what it was supposed to be. Because it just was none of his business. My kind of people. Why Will and I can get along so well because we don't care about what all these other people are doing, celebrities or whatever. We don't care. We got our problems we got to deal with, and we can't deal with all these other people's problems, so we got our problems to deal with. So
Is it
Willer
messing up still?
minds Willer's business. He doesn't mind everybody else's. But that boy is, I mean, he's just, only way to put it is just, he has always been a thorn in his daddy's side. But it was actually Willard's well said.
How about that now? Oh, that ain't going right there. How about now?
He was managing the Waffle King in Murphy. Dennis promoted to general manager of the Waffle Kings, so he promoted Willard to become manager. And but there's a lot of stories to Joey. Some of it's funny, will have you laughing. Especially part where he went up and decided to rob his place of employment back in 2011, the Huddle House up there in Andrews, North Carolina.
I think somebody keeps trying to mess with the recording because it keeps changing, yet it's the same tempo. So it's like something is going on.
think it was June 11th or something like that. He decided to pull over there at 3:23 a.m. Put on a mask, parked his car over by the gas pumps of the gas station. Part of it. Put on a mask and walking in the huddle house. Pulled out a gun, pointed at the waitress, and told her to give him all the money in the cash register. And she's like, "Joey, put down that gun." And of course, lowered his voice. "All right, Joey, don't call me Joey." Cook's over there. "Joey, think about what you're doing." "Shut up, all right, Joey." That was some of the customers in there. "Joey, son, think about what you're doing, man. You know, what's kind of, all right, Joey, that person calls me Joey. I'm going to Oh, I mean, what could the waitress do? Reach in the cash register, pull out the $137, and give it to him. It was $137. I mean, really worth the time of serving 8 years in prison, which he's going back, of course. He murdered Officer Robert Sanderson over there at the, the Women's Healthcare Clinic. That was him. He was the anonymous caller to the Centennial Park attack. And
anybody that has trouble, they can go back and if you look up Blackstone Lawyer, Black Widow, Part 2. This is where I'm getting the recording from.
Now, he did get him a new occupation while he did service time and got put in a halfway house. He does cabinet work now.
He does what kind of work now?
Cabinet. Builds cabinets. So I guess he's probably gotten over there with the cooks. Murphy builds supply and cooks carpet, flooring, and all that. And, of course, they're his neighbors, his daddy's neighbors. And that was actually Frank, John, and Robert Cook's niece, Mary. If it wasn't for her, we couldn't have got the hydrogen bomb surrendered. There was nobody in this entire world could have convinced that family to surrender that hydrogen bomb.
Wow.
It took one of their own family members to do it. Now, if you want to...
Could you explain to people that if that hydrogen bomb would have been detonated, what would have happened?
It would have wiped everything out in a 10-mile radius. It would have deflected over the hill over there, Cook Ridge, so it wouldn't have completely destroyed the town of Murphy. But in a 10-mile radius, you're going to go off on the week. You had all the people over in Young Harris, Georgia, because Cook Ridge is a rock's throw from Young Harris, Georgia. See, the Cook brothers, Frank, Robert, and John, grew up with Zell Miller. Zell and his family only lived across the creek there, across the state line from the Cooks. I mean, shoot, you can straddle the Georgia state line on that creek that runs between the community of Brasstown and Young Harris, Georgia. So the Miller boys spent plenty of nights eating dinner at the Cooks. The Cook brothers had plenty of nights staying back over there at the Millers. I mean, they were pretty much like family. Zell, he wound up marrying Shirley Carter, who is, president of the Federal Reserve Bank in Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
Everybody talks about Hillary Clinton. Well, I mean, Hillary Clinton's only Shirley Carter's reflection is all Hillary is. Shirley, she's the one who determines who gets elected. In both political parties. She's the primary sponsor of the Democratic Party. She was Bill Clinton's and Hillary Clinton's mentor. She was Joe Biden's mentor. She was Barack Obama's mentor. I mean, If
Yeah,
you
but
needed
what-
any advice on how to do something, you went to Shirley Carter and Zell Miller. If
Kind
you
of makes
wanted
me
to
wonder
get
if they had any ties in with the Fanny thing in Georgia.
the what?
The Fanny fiasco that happened.
Oh, Patty Willis.
Yes.
Well, I mean, yeah, I call it Washington Mania, really. It's really, to me, all for show, really. I never saw any type of conviction coming on Donald Trump for anything. If anything, I have the evidence that proves that Donald Trump is legally still the president of the United States because Joe Biden was disqualified as a presidential candidate.
Is that
And the
why,
reason-
when you see the news reports and everything, and the military had their backs turned when the cavalcade was going through, for Biden going through, the military had turned their back.
Well, I hadn't seen that, but it wouldn't surprise me one bit. I mean, when that newspaper article popped up out there in Australia about Hunter Biden being tied into child sex trafficking, that right then and there disqualified his daddy right then and there. That's not counting the fact, which of course I did meet Hunter in June of 1997.
Yeah, please tell us about that. Yeah.
Okay. They tried to hit the Ball Ground Elementary School baseball game back on June 3rd, 1997.
By hitting
I
it,
would
you
much
mean they
rather
tried to
die.
bomb it? They had hidden stuff to restore a lot of
yes,
lives there, right?
Yes, they had these explosives planted at all these elementary school baseball fields, a lot of them by the dugouts, to where all they had to do was just walk up and reach down and pull up a couple of wires, attach a detonator, whether a timer or a remote, walk away and detonate the explosive and kill children. They had every elementary school from Ball Ground Elementary over to the elementary schools in Cumming, Georgia, Gainesville, Georgia, all the way up to Asheville, North Carolina, out to Chattanooga, Tennessee, where they had gone out and
They probably had some. Sorry about that. But that goes to show there's probably some even planted in Alabama areas.
I don't think they were able to get quite that far, but
Okay.
they were going to. Once they got to, they were going to do more. Anybody that did not support their fight against the government, you got to remember, all right, these people were involved in government, and they're going to overthrow the government. What does that tell you?
Guess what? They're going to get, what's that called? Treason?
Well, yeah, sedition, conspiracy to overthrow the United States government. Okay, the only reason that Hunter Biden and Jim Biden is getting out of that is they made an agreement that I got that bomb surrendered. When all this went down, they are to provide every name of every pedophile in the world. If they hold back one name, deal's off. All they have to do is hold back one name. I want every name of every leader in this world that is involved in their child trafficking operations. I've got the ones in Atlanta, so they know they can't pull any wool over my eyes on that. But they have to provide every name in order to wash their hands of any criminal wrongdoing. They have to provide me every name of every child trafficker and pedophile they know. are like everybody else that are guilty, they can face the fire squad. I did not like having to give such a run, but I had to do some of the most outlandish, impossible things, and I did them. I did accomplish them. I have successfully fought up trafficking in the Republic of Peru as a U.S. envoy for the Bush administration in 2005 for the Toledo administration. That resulted in Operation Predator that rescued over 106 children as young as 5 years of age.
Thank you so much for that.
And it changed the economy in Peru. Peru is actually transitioned. There's some, it's pretty shaky down there right now, which is shaky here in the United States, because those were the two countries that they intended to take down in the 1990s, was the United States and the Republic of Peru. And the Chinese Communist Party was very much involved.
Right.
You had Sendero Luminoso, Abimel Guzman, that was leading what we know as the Shining Path terrorist organization, and the only way they could be defeated was an armed militia had to go and defeat them. The government couldn't do it. And it's getting to the point nowadays is about to go and be the same thing for the militias in this country. They're either going to stand with me and also stand with Donald Trump, or they can just go ahead and sit on back and go ahead and enjoy all these taxes they're having to pay, all of this big government intrusion that they're having to suffer from. Because everybody will notice that whenever North Carolina was declared a provisional state by Governor Hunt, we did not deploy the National Guard. We did not institute the curfews. We didn't go around snatching up guns and snatching up people. It was really supposed to be a 21-year run. Now it's going into 26 years. And I am not ready to allow another one of them to die from natural causes, especially John Ramsey, of all people in this world, the one that I really want sitting out there exposed to the world as the most disgusting human being ever created in this world, and that is John Bennett Ramsey.
Did you tell us what he calls himself?
Ma'am?
Did you tell us what he calls himself?
Oh, John?
Yes.
Well, I really don't know if he's really grandoid delusional or if he is actually Satan himself, because he really thinks he is Satan himself.
And he said that he's gonna. What was that? He said that reason why it's gonna kill Beth.
Yeah, he told Beth and Matt after he had us killed, because you got to realize that Beth went way out to try to get her daddy busted with his phone.
Right.
Because her and Matt, they had every intention of taking John Bonet and raising her as their child.
To protect her, yes.
Mm-hmm. They had been trying to find me for 9 months in 1991 because I had worked at that one Waffle House there in Marietta, there at the 120 loop in Roswell Road, and there at the corner of Greenbrier Parkway and Roswell Road is Waffle House, Unit 479. Now, Ed Bentley Jr. owns that building, all those buildings there on Greenbrier Parkway. He leases them out to other businesses, and also he has this place there where he builds the silencers for the U.S. military. I've had a lot of people looking at me in shock, Marietta, over that barn that is all the time caught on fire and it never burned down.
I
Over
wish
there,
she
just past
did
the
too.
Golden ramp from Roswell Road to the 120 loop. I went in the Waffle House.
Aren't you asking some people that live in that area too to please get some people to do a search on that property, see if there's any like fingers or any kind of bone fragments where that barn was?
We're trying to push it, but we got Sheriff Craig Owens, the first black sheriff in Cobb County, sitting over there on his thumb. Now, I don't know if he's rotating his thumbs or not, but he is not willing to do anything along with the city of Marietta Police Department because that's really city jurisdiction. Because there was one of those guys that shot those two black teenagers that I rescued from that barn over there that night. One of the snipers was a city of Marietta police officer.
Wow.
The other sniper was my cousin Robert Beach. The other sniper was Ed Bentley Jr. All under the control of Cobb Assistant Magistrate Mike McLaughlin.
So a lot of people say, well, you know, I could go to the police and they don't have it, then I just take it to court. And then you got a crooked magistrate too. So it's like, what do you do when you're pretty much through when you have to go through that round through McLaughlin? Then that's when he was.
Oh yeah, if you're
magistrate.
If you're on their blacklist, as many times as I've gone and tried to take warrants out for people that damaged my property, and to be sitting there and cussed out by that rat, because that's what he is, a rat. You know, I gave up taking out warrants on people in Cobb County a long time ago because it was a waste of time. Someone could walk up to me in a parking lot, get in a fight with them, defending myself, or even sit there and let them hit me and go take a warrant would do no good. Not with that judge.
You know what's bad about that? Go ahead.
Well, it's because what I witnessed when I was in the 8th grade at Mabry Middle. Him chasing this, he was a college student, living out of state. The same Buick that he crashed into Grady Lynn Rawls's brick mailbox down in Evergreen, Alabama, was the same Buick I sat there on the back of the school bus on my way home from Mabry Middle, chasing this 1968 or 69 Chevrolet Chevelle SS that ran off the road and hit the brick mailbox of Sheriff Bill Hudson's sister. First time I met Mike McLaughlin in person was 3 days before my 18th birthday in November of 1983. He had just started his job at the courthouse working with the DA's office with a magistrate on pretrial release.
Yeah, you're talking about actually the first time he actually met him and knew who he was, okay? But he had seen him earlier when he had that seen that accident to the mailbox, and he got that boy and put it from his car and put it into his own car, Judge McLaughlin's car, in the back seat, and Charles was trying to ask if everything's okay, and he told her to go mind his own business, and he had to go get away from it because this was a dangerous guy, you know. But that guy ended up dead. Judge McLaughlin ended up taking him and killing him.
You won't believe who he brought over there to drop off there by Tip Top Poultry when we're all after we met over there at Leighton Graphics with John Ramsey. Yeah, you won't believe who he dropped off.
Who do you drop off?
Franklin Delano Floyd, known as Bill.
Oh, no.
Yeah, do a search on him. I'll get that
Serial
story again in a few days, okay?
All these guys are serial killers. Every one of them. John Wayne Gacy. This is proven that John Wayne Gacy did not murder all of his victims. He was actually out of town when one of his victims was murdered. Guess who said he murdered that victim? Doug McRae.
Wow.
Now we're talking Radio Shack. Now, if anybody wants to kind of get an idea of what Doug McRae looks like, I don't have a picture of him, but they can go to the Levi Frady sites and they pull up. Even some of my groups on Facebook, we definitely.
Yes.
And you'll have these two composite sketches that was seen in the area at the time of Levi's abduction. Well, one gentleman was seen going door to door, knocking on doors at the time of his abduction. And this is where you get the fine print out from between the lines in the Levi Frady murder. The other composite sketch, well, the guy seen going door to door, well, that was Jim Vickers, the branch manager of Electrolux in Gainesville. I had two
remember who.
Okay, I'll show y'all who Levi Frady was, a picture of him, all right? This is him right here. Levi Frady. See if there's any more to the investigation down there. See. Okay, it don't have anything in reference to the pictures there. I'm gonna see if it's got anything here. There he is. Right here. Let's go. Charles, can you see the screen? Here's witness one. The first person in question was seen walking along Little Mill Road in Forsyth County. That one. And then there's, I think this one would probably be the one that you're talking about. And then there's witness two right here, okay? I don't know if you're still in there, Charles.
I remember when you were talking about when the last time when that came into being, the Electrolux and the Radio Shack. So yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember if we covered that in one of our interviews or not, but they tried to set me up for Levi's murder. Jim had just a tad bit lighter gray minivan than what I had. His was a Dodge Caravan, and mine was a Plymouth Voyager.
Okay, I'll show you.
I don't think we went over the part of it.
Okay, I'll show you the picture again. Oh, Chris, you're back. Okay, thank you. The picture, I really believe it is witness one. He just a lot older than when I have seen him in person. This Doug McRae right here. I mean, that looks more like Doug McRae right here. an older version of him. I'm thinking that that one's possibly him. Hey, I go back there.
At the Bible,
In LJ that day, I wound up selling 3 machines. One was my 1 o'clock appointment, and the other one was at 5:30. I get in my office that morning, and Charlie, that is my branch manager, told me, "Yeah, an appointment. I need to go deliver a bottom line canister back in Clear to Cumming, Georgia." I said, "Charlie, just call it into one of the other branches. I got appointments over here in LJ." And of course, if I had appointments, they were sales. Well, I would generate my own appointments. I didn't need any blind dates. I really didn't like running office appointments at all, even though I have. To me, I had all the clientele in the world. All I had to do was go out and meet them. That was my philosophy.
and were you basically independent salesperson at that time?
Yes, ma'am. I was an independent contractor. I was not an employee, so he could not fire me for refusing to take his appointment. Now, if I had been an assistant manager, which would have been an employee, he could have fired me for refusing to run that appointment. He told me, "Well, you go in there and you call your 5:30, see if they'll reschedule." I said, "Okay." So I went in and I called the couple, and they didn't want to reschedule. And I tried to convince them to let another rep from another office come over. They did not want that. They were interested in what I had talked to them about, and they were only interested in me coming over there and showing them the equipment. And they were interested in looking at the equipment, which told me right then and there it was a sale. So I came out and I told Charlie, I said, "Well, Charlie, they're not rescheduling." "Well, you run that 5:30 without going out there to Cumming. I don't care if you sell machines, I'll fire you." I said, "Okay." I stepped outside.
Yeah, it's in the processes. Jonna, it's in the processes.
Smoke a cigarette and drink a cup of coffee, and Matt McRae came walking out of the radio shack, and he goes, "Yeah, Charles, we heard that you got what you think will be a sale over there in LJ. If you go to that 5:30 without going to Cumming, we're going to come over there and kill you and your customers." So I was pretty little shook up after that. I was shook. I knew they were going to try to set me up. And something just told me they were going to murder a child over there and try to set me up. So something just told me that. So I didn't know what I was going to do, but I wasn't having breakfast at no Waffle King. I couldn't do me any good to find any law enforcement in Cherokee County, North Carolina to report it to. So I drove down to LJ to the Waffle House for my breakfast that morning. So I'm sitting in, place is packed out. I'm looking around. I don't see a cop one. I don't see a plainclothes detective, nobody pertaining to law enforcement. I sat there for like 30 minutes after I ate, hoping I would see a deputy or someone come in that restaurant. Nobody. Just regular customers. So I'm like, oh my gosh. I go walking outside and I hear my name. Look to the right, and I hear it again. I look to my left, and there's this distinguished looking gentleman standing by a white Chevrolet Silverado. Motions me over to his pickup truck. So I go walking over there, and he goes, "You're Charles Rogers?" I said, "Yes." Special Agent Steve Maxwell of the GBI, Chatsworth's field office. There's to my understanding, the FBI's got your office tapped up there in Murphy, and you've been threatened with termination if you don't go to Cumming. I said, man, I can't be talking to you. They got these logs on my vehicle. Well, wait a minute. Okay. Pulls out a briefcase, pulls out what looked like a pedometer, one of those test meters. We go walking over to my van. I pop the hood on it. He hooks it up to the battery. Which he told me before we got over there if I had any pagers or recorders or anything that had batteries in them that was going to drain the batteries, which I didn't have a pager. So anything else that had batteries would drain except for the car battery. So he drained the batteries on their trackers and their listening devices on my vehicle for me. It took about 10 minutes. About 7 minutes into it, that's when he started talking real low, and he was like, what do you think they got planned over there in Cumming? I said, well, it's not going to be a terrorist attack because they're sending me to a neighborhood. So I imagine they're going to abduct and murder a child and try to pin it on me. He goes, well, you got any places you can go? I said, yeah, I got a 1 o'clock and 5:30 here in Gilmer County. And what do you think they'll buy? I said, yeah, I'm going to sell a shampoo or polisher over here at my 1 o'clock, and I'm going to sell a twin upright package over here at my 5:30. All right. Well, you got someone you can call that other lead into? I said, yeah, I'll call this one into the Gainesville Electrolux branch and see if one of the reps out there run it. That's a good idea. Do that. Find somewhere to hang out between your appointments. So I said, yeah, I'll just go over here to Waffle King and hang out between my 2 appointments. And that's what I did. I went over there and hung out the Waffle King after I left my 1 o'clock at 3 o'clock. So I was sitting in the Waffle King in LJ at the time of Levi's abduction. So I went to my 5:30. They had unmarked cars riding by this couple's house, and they were like, well, I wonder what the presence of law enforcement is out here today. I said, well, it's on the account of me. On the account of you, I was like, yeah, so I tried to call you this morning and reschedule an appointment because the people that are responsible for the Oklahoma City bombing and the Olympic Park attack are trying to make me go to Cumming and said they'd come over here and kill me and y'all too if I showed up over here today. Oh, really? Well, we do not support what happened out there in Oklahoma City, and we sure don't support what happened down there at that park. We want to take a look at what you got. This is our family over here all around us. They want to come over here and shoot it out. We'll be more than happy to shoot it out with them. So we want to look at what you got. So I went in, showed them, and wrote it up. I was 8:30 leaving, which most of the time when I was showing equipment, it was really showing the customers how to use the equipment. Getting them used to it. That way they knew how to use it, change the brushes around on the shampooer, how to use the attachments for the uprights and canisters. It was really showing them how to use their equipment. That's always was my technique. And I just asked them their opinions of everything. Answer a question professionally with a question where the customer had to answer the question. That was my gig. And I would stop by the Chevron there, and Blue Ridge got me a cup of coffee and a pack of cigarettes on my way home. I was at home at 9:30. My dad wound up doing his own little personal investigation on me that weekend. Levi was abducted from his mother's house. He was on his bicycle. He was about to leave and ride down to the street to his friend's house, who was, Mexican. When his dad,
You remember Levi's last name?
Levi Frady?
From Freddie, that's that boy's name?
Yes, ma'am, Levi Frady.
Yeah, how do you spell that last name?
F as in Frank, R as in Raymond, A as in Apple, D as in dog, and Y as in yellow.
Okay, because I remember that name.
Yeah, we had Levi's call in Georgia before it was Amber Alert. It was a Levi's call.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And they changed it to the Amber Alert. At first it was Levi Frady was a body, Amber Frady, pregnant hair, the one they go, and Eddie Hughes, like he's with the crafter. Could be young guy with the brown hair, kind of a short looking guy. Of Doug McRae. You can put the two pairs of sketches next to each other, tell they're the same guy.
Oh, wow. And it's sad to see that their own father would do that. But we're seeing a lot of cases where their own parents are doing that today. A lot of people might not try to believe. They try to say, oh, it's getting worse and stuff like that. It's been bad all along. It's just now because we got the internet, more of their stuff is coming out.
That's what it is. It's like the Summer Wells case over there. There's nobody convinced that the parents were not the parents were in fact alone.
Believe it or not, there's people like if you go to White Boy over there at YouTube, he swears down that they're innocent, and all that YouTube videos that he goes. But they got all their cell phones and no, they get all their cell phones because they have some phones that they have to turn in.
Well, see, that's why I know so much about the Levi Frady, the Beth and JonBenet Ramsey murders, was because even though I wasn't present at their murders, I know people who were present. Okay.
Right.
I'm not going to name any names right now.
Exactly.
Anybody can go over there to the Fulton County State Court and they can call the case of Roger Badlands versus Charles R. Rogers. And there's pounds of evidence over there that you go through. It's got a lot of the names. It doesn't have a lot of the names of my confidential witnesses because I'm using Rule 34.2 of the Federal Court in North Carolina. I know.
They so that they don't end up, like God, like a lot of the other ones,
Yeah, or raided and given a injection like I was given in 2013. I mean,
plan and threat and you continue on and everything else.
These people are willing to murder entire families.
Exactly.
They don't even have their own children. Why would they have the regard for the lives of anyone else?
All cases, but I'm sure there's some cases where they try to blame the parent killing everybody in the household that he killed himself. But I'm sure there's cases where, it's really them that done it, that they just framed him to make it look like he did it.
I have a lot of people, they say all this negative stuff about Hunter Biden. Hey, believe me, from their perspective, they got every right. One thing I did get out of Hunter, this was before I met with his uncle, he didn't even agree with what he was brought up in. When I asked him the questions that I asked him, he looked at me real funny, and he was like, I never thought of it that way, but you were right. I don't agree with this, now that you mention it. I told him, I said, just continue what you're doing. But when all this comes down, you're going to have to go on a 20-something year run to get that hydrogen bomb surrendered. But at the end of this, I don't care how guilty you are. I want the name of everyone involved. I said, if you can do that, I can probably convince the American people to keep you out of prison. But it's going to take 100% of your cooperation. I said, I don't give a damn how you get your baby in as president if you have to do it by time. But you get him in there. And they did. So, like everybody else, I can't wait to see what the final conclave is on this is going to be about, because these people had every intention of ripping this country apart by the seams in the 1990s. They have the money. They have right now. They're into the power right now as we speak. And they're finding out how to get it angry. Well, yeah, I mean, guys, if they put something at Piedmont Hospital in July of 2001, my dad was 9 years old, and they failed to get rid of me on the 7th of July. They were going to kill me while my dad was 9 in the hospital. I didn't take my brother to that level when he offered me to go down History Street to this little cafeteria for a cup of coffee. I had a funny feeling it was a little bit more than what he was suggesting. I went ahead and got in the car and rode over there with him anyway. He went over to the Shell gas station. It's not there anymore. Fort Dodge there. Pulled in there, he picked up Roger Nance. So, last person, I had already tried to get a protective order on those two the 25th of June. And Mike McLaughlin sat there and threatened Danny Kish and Gene Bertrand and me, threatening to have all three of us locked up and killed in jail if we didn't get out of that courthouse.
Wow.
So now Danny's suing on in the U.S. District Court in Atlanta. He's suing Mike McLaughlin. He's suing Rudolph because Fred Rogers decided to lure him and me from over in Dawsonville, Georgia, Forsyth County, going to have us executed 2 days after my birthday in 1997. Oh no, I don't celebrate birthdays. I got a damn reason. I don't understand my birthdays. I just give up. I don't even celebrate them anymore. If I had not told them just go ahead and execute me and spare my friend, we were dead. I had mistaken him as an undercover agent or undercover officer. And he was a commercial truck driver. He was actually driving for Mansfield Oil and was on lockdown for over 2 hours on March the 11th, 1997. Well, they tried to hit all those places over there in Northern, the IRS building, the General Motors assembly plant, East Street Cobb Airport, Sicko fueling facility for truckers. The Amerigas propane distribution facility and or the jet fuel for Delta Airlines. One of those guys that they put in the hospital was working at this one gas station there at the intersections. Assembly Dunwoody Road. It's got this retail space in the same building as the convenience store. Well, they were there when someone put a backpack by the dumpster to the gas. Of course, police came out and disarmed it. The first target was the IRS building. Well, when they pulled up to the IRS building, there was two trucks blocking the entrance, so they couldn't pull into the entrance, so they had to turn around. They came down to the center where I was working at. Went in there, 3 employees made hostage for almost 3 hours. There was 3 in those attacks that morning. One was for the, like I said, the GM assembly plant there in Doraville. The MARTA rail station, they were going to blow it up on the tracks there and blow the tracks off. Shut down the MARTA rail station there. And of course, kill a bunch of people. But I mean, when you look at what happened in Oklahoma City, people think that all those buildings that was damaged was from the debris and the stuff from the explosive itself. No, a lot of those buildings were destroyed because of the break of the gas. You'll see after a bomb and you'll see the gas sitting there burning out of the ground. And people say, well, why don't they just shut off the gas? Oh, yeah, good idea. You get the oxygen into those gas bags. Well, that gas is the more combustible. So you can blow up 50 blocks, turn them off that gas. Well, you get damaged inside from the gas when they turn off the gas. You go to some of them buildings and blow up inside. That's why you had to damage 6 city blocks in Oklahoma City. Wasn't just from the explosives planted inside and that truck bomb that was detonated on the outside. But the damage is from the gas mains. That's what destroyed the other buildings. So that's why you no longer have those 6 city blocks. You have a lake and you have a memorial out there now.
Yeah, I'm not sure when we touch base on the Blackwater chapter 2 or not, or whether I don't know. We've got 8 minutes left.
Well, let's go ahead and get old Lynn out of the way. I mean, Julian Lynn Womack, you won't believe who helped me stop the second truck bomb attempt on that General Motors assembly plant. It was actually her uncle, Alan Hellers. Well, he was a neighbor of my mother over there by Springberry and East Cobb. We had another neighbor, I can't tell his name right now. He worked at the Lakewood plant. He's the one that helped me stop the attack on truck bomb attack on that assembly plant. The breach security was two sections of chain link fence that were missing from that side access road. So it appears that General Motors, like Home Depot, was involved in the truck bombings of both of their facilities.
Wow.
Fox Theaters Incorporated were responsible for the attempted truck bombing. Valentine's Day, 1997, is when they tried to do it on the Fox Theater. And we can thank L.N. Wood for getting two of those officers that assisted in stopping that attack fire from the Atlanta Police Department. So people want to know what I think about Lynn Wood. Every time I wipe my butt, I think about him.
People know the negative about him that you do because you knew him personally or know him.
Well, I didn't know him personally. He only got paid $100,000 out of representing Rick Jewell. He was mad as hell at me because I got Rick reinstated as sheriff. Rick didn't want that $1 million. Now, Rick went to work with Nancy Schaefer and me in exposing the Child Protective Services scandals. And that's why I think that they killed Rick with a heart attack. And they just inadvertently executed Nancy, her husband, Roger. And after Rick died, Nancy, she had a tendency to want to back off. Rick died 10 days before our next meeting. We had scheduled. Unexpectedly. There's no reason why.
Coincidental? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he had diabetes, but you know, he didn't have bad heart trouble. I just all of a sudden died of a heart attack. Same thing with my buddy of the Easy Rental, Sam Evans. The same thing. He didn't have heart trouble. Died of a heart attack. He was working at the Forest Park location when he died. When he helped me stop the attacks, he was working at the Evans Street location there at the West End. And but anyway, Lynn, she used to work with my cousin Bonnie Rogers at 911 dispatch for Cobb County. And she just had that reputation over there in the Sprayberry area, just, you know, anybody's girl, anybody could have had her. And she worked with the DA's office for a little while. But Glenn was a murder suspect when Glenn was killed. Randy Thompson was involved in a traffic stop, if I remember correctly. According to Craig Manier, that day they decided they were going to get rid of him. My daddy died in the hospital over there. And Marilyn Parkman, when I talked to her, that Randy Thompson had done a traffic stop over there in Forsyth County that resulted in $3,500 worth of methamphetamine being seized that belonged to Milton Frady and Marilyn Parkman. It was on consignment to them from Marshall Talbot and Eric Rudolph. So that to almost $88,000. So there's more to the story about Julian Lynn Womack Turner. That is Patty Helen's adopted niece. She lost her parents. She was a distant relative. The Womacks is the reason why Patty's sister adopted her. She was involved in her husband and her boyfriend's homicides, but I do not think she acted alone. 1991, I'm a witness to that homicide. Witnessed that before I met Beth Ramsey a couple of weeks later.
Time, am I right?
In 91, I was like 26, I think. You know, um, 90 seconds. Okay.
Yes.
Well, we don't think that Lynn Turner killed herself in prison. There's reason to believe that she possibly out-murdered her grandmother. I don't know the validity of that, but I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Lynn Turner did not act alone when she got rid of her husband, Sergeant Rupert.
Right.
Bridget Clodfelter is another one of their victims.
Was another one of your victims, you said?
Bridget Clodfelter.
Okay.
She hung out at the Buckboard Saloon where other cops like to hang out. Her and Cheryl Underwood. So those two homicides are related. They were murdered by members of the Cobb County Police Department Precinct 4. Known as that.
So would you like to say anything in closing? We'll get on with it next time. From that.
Well, everybody's got a Bible. Just flip over there to Matthew chapter 18 and read what Tim Ballard has stolen from me. I mean, listen, you know, I want everybody up there using that particular passage.
The strength.
Yeah. Jesus gave us life fighting pedophilia. People don't realize what he was speaking about when he came here, but he was fighting a war against those Pharisees, the pedophiles of the time. He took the cross, standing up against the same people, or the bloodlines of the same people we are up against today. I know it sounds far-fetched. I know it's hard to accept. Nobody wants to have to accept it, but it's just what it is.
Right, exactly. Well, I thank you for coming, and we'll continue on with this with chapter 3 the next time, so that we can continue on with the.
Well, I hope that's a help waking everybody up. It's something we have to face sooner or later. We might as well go ahead and face it now and get it over with.
You're right. Oh, and thank you so much for coming. You always bring a lot of insight. You bring hope. And thank you for fighting the good fight for us.
Well, thank you for your prayers and support. And hopefully I look forward to seeing you and many others up there in Raleigh when I get up there and kick that doggone Democrat out of my office.
That's right.
Yeah, do you feel like telling again, Charles? I guess maybe we could do a live in here and ask you questions, and people could ask you questions on the things that you have said, and you explain again about you being taking over the governor thing over there in North Carolina. You can explain that to the people so that they will further understand that statement. Okay, so maybe we could go live and people come in here and ask you questions. Does that sound good, Charles? Maybe we can plan that. Whoever would like that are here and on Facebook, put a 1 if y'all would like Charles to come in and y'all ask him questions, please, in the comment section. He said, yeah, that would do good. So let's let that be the next thing that we just do a live, and maybe if things are broken away. Sounds good to you too, Eric? Okay. Joanna said that's good. That's good too. So let's let that gonna be the next one. Do you think you'll be able to do it Saturday or Sunday, Charles? We'll discuss it, and then y'all just be watching out for it on my channel, okay? Thank you all, and maybe you'll be able to use Eric's, the other Eric's laptop. All right. Yeah, tomorrow sometime. I think people will tend to expect me around 12:05 Central Time, and that'd be 1:05 Eastern Time. That seems like a good time for me. If that's a good time for you. Okay, everybody. God bless. We're here to advocate, bring awareness to a lot of things. Thank you so much, and God bless you.